Hello, my lovely bats. This video will be something more serious, so please look at the trigger warnings. Predatory behavior, obsessive/stalker behavior, mentions of NSFW of minors, transphobia, and more dark themes. Flash warning if you're watching my speed paints. This is to help spread awareness on Castor. Please keep these warnings in mind as the video goes on. Castor, also known as Castor Angel, is the newest predator that's been outed, having been obsessed with minors, even in love with them, making sexual jokes with minors, and is stalking his ex-partner currently. Keep in mind that some pieces of media have been deleted and have been dug up via other people's live streams and videos. All information will be from Jujs, since that's the only person I found who was close with Castor and was giving videos/sources. I also apologize if I say any names wrong. This is my first real commentary video, so if I get any information wrong, please let me know in the comments. Remember to be respectful of everyone mentioned. Before we start with Jujs' videos, I want to give my side because I actually knew Castor for a brief amount of time. Though, if you ask him now, he would probably say that I didn't exist or something, because I was just a small part of his life. I doubt that he even remembers me at this point. Unfortunately, I don't have any proof, but if you don't believe me, then go ahead. Since this was all, over a year ago, and I didn't think that Castor would be this, relevant at this point, so I don't have any videos or screenshots at all. When I was 14, I joined a server with a bunch of other upcoming YouTubers, which conveniently, Castor was in it. I won't give out the server since I don't want the server owner or members getting attacked, since they most definitely weren't a part of this, and I highly doubt that they even knew about it. So when I first met Castor, he was overly friendly, which didn't seem so bad, since I had trouble making friends due by my mental illnesses. I never knew his age, and looking back on it, I should have asked. I was always under the impression that he was under 18, like me. I always thought that we were both young teenagers. I had the impression that he was 15 or 16, which he wasn't. He was 18, and we would make jokes on voice chat together. Jokes were like 69, because that was funny back then when I was 14. And, stuff like that. Really vague sexual jokes, which I probably shouldn't have been participating in since I was 14. We were sometimes left alone on voice chat on Discord, or we were there with other people. Eventually, he would start making jokes, saying that I was a ripoff Bredrawz. I'd like to say this was somewhere, around late 2024, somewhere around there. And I found it funny at first, because if you see my channel before, you know I'm a fan of Bredrawz. But eventually, it started to get annoying, because everyone was joining in saying I was ripoff Bredrawz, which I'm not. We never went into each other's DMs. We'd always talk in the server channels and voice chat. I soon left the server because I stopped texting in it, and I was going through a rough patch, which you don't need to know about. In fact, one of my first videos, the joke brony allegations video, you could see that someone is there. That someone is Castor. Because everyone in the server was making these joke videos about Jesse being a brony, and I think Castor was the one who asked me to make that video, so I made it. I still have the video up. I feel like I should take it down because Castor's in it, though I'm not really sure because I don't know at this point. I remember, at least I thought I remembered, Castor going and commenting under that video, though when I checked, there was nothing, so either the comment deleted when he deleted his channel, or it just did not exist. That's my short, brief experience with Castor. Only knew him for a few months, though I'd say 3 months at max. But now we're going to go to Jujs' experience with Castor, and reminder of the trigger warnings, because this is going to get insane. I watched both of Jujs' videos, and they were really informative, so if you think that mine information is enough, please go over to Jujs. Her channel, their channel will be linked down below in the description, so please check them out. Anyway, onto the video. Jujs had known Castor for a year and 4 months, unlike the others mentioned, and how they only knew him for a few months. Having started dated in the 8th of August 2025, from what I got, they were on an on-again, off-again relationship. The relationship had officially ended soon enough after Castor admitted to saying sus things to a minor. That minor was Leaping Lay, who I will call Lay for short, a transgender male 16-year-old, yet another victim of this predator. Lay had been biased to Castor until Judge told her side, and Lay switched sides almost immediately and gave more information about Castor. From the screenshot on your screen, you can see a small bit of text on the Google Docs sent to Judge. You can see it says, quote unquote, "I met Castor when he added me on Discord around the time I made my mascot video on YouTube. He never spoke to me personally, he just added me." So Castor had apparently interacted with the minor first, and what I can tell, almost immediately, it began to be sexual. At the time, I mistakenly assumed it was okay to make sus jokes, since I did that with all my other friends. I apologize for this. To be honest, I didn't mind his jokes to an extent, as I knew he was trying to fit in. However, he once told me in a voice chat, "I'm going to finger both of your holes." Won't lie, it made me uncomfortable and weirded me out. But I laughed it off, which I honestly find sickening. Lay had later went on to talk to Castor on call about this with some other people.
No. I believe that, like, when I first met you, we were playing Minecraft together. I remember one time you were like, I'm gonna, like, finger you. Stuff like that,
Jokes.
I know, like, it's okay, man. Listen, I was gonna say sus jokes, but, this was, like, I remember, countless times I told you, like, oh, I'm 16, I'm 16,
You
and
did?
then, yeah, I remember I told you I was 16.
Oh my.
And then, dude, if you had a girlfriend around this time, this is really not good. This is really not good.
During that time I didn't. I did not, but that was like recent.
Situation,
It's just,
I'm sorry,
man,
sorry for interrupting you.
I'm not gonna lie. Some of the stuff you said, Castor, is also one of the reasons why I made my video. Like, the video I made, I was just so down because I felt like a girl. Like, you made me feel like a freaking girl.
During this call, Judge had said how Castor was trying to, make a relationship happen between him and them while this whole sexual joking was going on. And the video that was mentioned was the video, The Truth, from Lay, where Lay had came out as being transgender. But the other people in the call didn't like how Castor reacted to that, almost as if he was shrugging it off, which I agree, since from what I can get, Castor was one of the main reasons why Lay had came out. He admitted that he initially saw me as a girl at first and wanted to date me, but then took it back because he didn't know I was trans and the fact I was 16, which was one of the reasons I created the Truth video. I felt compelled to do so. Judge had went on the record and said that Lay sounds like he is underage, even if you didn't know his age, which I entirely agree with. But I know that Castor would have and has gone lower than 16, because he made those jokes to me when I was 14. I did and still do sound young, since I am a minor, but the jokes from Castor were still there at my doorstep. Judge says of how Castor, being an adult, should have stopped the sexual jokes towards someone who sounded young, which I agree with yet again, followed by these messages. Did those jokes continue when he knew your age? Sort of, if I'm going to be honest. He said he stopped as soon as he knew, and I thought so too, but I think I remember it going on more still. And then Castor tried to claim otherwise. I don't even make those jokes anymore. It's been months. I don't feel comfortable making those jokes because I took a break from social media and look back what I said I feel uncomfortable. It's rare that I even talk to him. He stopped making those jokes because I told him to stop. I don't feel comfortable with it. And I personally think that it did continue ongoing, since Castor has already been proven to be a terrible person. Remember when I said that Castor has gone lower than 16? Well, I wasn't the only one. YouTuber Jujs, being 15 at the time, and was also in contact with Castor. Castor had made jokes about getting rizzy with Junie, and if you zoom in, you can see a /J right there. Yeah, that doesn't mean that the comment is suddenly not weird. Unfortunately, I don't have the screenshot of the comment, so I have no clue what's been said, but I imply that it might have to do something with his rizzy time. That meaning the comment is probably just really weird. Hey Castor, didn't you make a joke about getting rizzy with a 15-year-old? Found this today. Castor is going on a rizzy time. You could say, I'm Sigma. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Real. Junie was 15 when Castor said this. And something I find a bit funny was that he had mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog. And if you look it up, Sonic is also 15. He really has this thing for 15-year-olds. Anyhow, I apologize for that. Even after that comment, Castor would give a ton of gifts to Junie on Roblox, buying Junie's OCs or merch. But that's not the only thing Castor would give Junie. Castor would give Junie vent messages, which I don't think you should be venting to a minor personally, because people can easily take advantage of minors, since teenagers and kids are easy targets, and you could claim that, hey, you know my deepest, darkest secrets, so you must be my friend. Or convince them to, not be just friends, if you catch what I'm saying. Castor has apparently vented to people as young as 14. I don't remember if he had ever vented to me, but I don't think he has. On voice chat, Castor would apparently say / imply this. Other stuff he did were pretty wild now that I think about it. He told me he doesn't understand trans people, and that made me a little frustrated, and I said, hey, don't say that. Why don't you try to understand them? He would frequently misgender these friends of his with she and her, instead of their actual pronouns, so I kept reminding him to stop misgendering. He would mention that their voices are feminine, and that it's hard not to misgender them. And that kind of felt weird to me, so that's something. And I get accidentally misgendering people. I bet we've all done it before. But the way Judge says what happened, it sounds like Castor had purposely misgendered people. And keep in mind, Castor was friends with a lot of people under the trans umbrella. I'm actually so frustrated. I'm sorry you had experienced this shit. He'd always misgender people and say he doesn't understand trans people, and I told him to stop since my best friend is trans. Yeah, exactly. He even said in VC he thinks they're delusional. No joke. And you know what happened next? Castor started giving tons of gifts to Lay, as if bribing Lay into forgiving these kinds of comments. Hey, I bought you these gifts. I'm now instantly redeemed of my sins. No, it doesn't work that way. These kinds of comments continued, and Judge would break up with him yet again, though I said it was an on-again, off-again relationship, so they probably did get back together. Judge said of how Castor would apparently plead and beg Judge to stay because he changed. That is some toxic behavior at its finest, trying to make people stay by leading them on with a chance of changing until the person goes back with their usual ways.
I remember one time, like the lesbian joke, right?
Oh.
Yeah, you said, you kind of remind me of that girl who wants to be a guy. Like, you said that. I remember distinctly, and I was like, damn, he thinks I'm a girl who wants to be a guy. Like, that. I remember that, and it's hurt my feelings. But
like I didn't meant saying that because I don't think what I say, and now I'm realizing that,
it's
like, oh
okay. I mean,
shit.
listen, I make mistakes too. One time I've said I'm effing tired of this, the other day, but I realize what I say. I think about it later and I apologize to it for it and I don't do it again. The whole thing is if you make a mistake, you have to stop making them.
That's just no. I don't think what I say. Clearly. Along with the fact I didn't even apologize for it. If you've been on my channel before, you'd know a YouTuber, Bredrawz. If you don't, then let me remind you. Bredrawz is a YouTuber who is 17 years old and does art commentary. I was a brief mutual of Bree once. In the same server, I met Castor in before. Bree was 16 or 17 at the time, I don't remember. But Castor has had a parasocial relationship with Bree, and I had watched it happen. Castor would run back to Jujs, always talking about Bree, it seemed, though this was in their private DMs and on the server. I'd watch how Castor would basically drop everything if Bree was online. Everything is a bit foggy since it was over a year ago. Then when I left the server, I remember Castor would buy commissions from Bree of him and Bree together. It wasn't anything sexual, just the two of them doing some random pose and looking at the camera. I knew about the commissions since Bree would sometimes post her recent commissions on her YouTube community page. Then Castor would eventually develop feelings for Bree. He was 18 at the time. This is one of the things I won't read out because it's sickening. It's basically Castor's talking about how much and all the ways he loves Bree, which is really weird. Like, what's wrong with you? I had already left the server at this point, but let's just say I actually wasn't surprised about it. I always thought that Castor had preferred Bree most in the server. When Bree found out about Castor's liking towards her, she almost immediately blocked Castor everywhere, since Bree isn't interested in romantic or sexual relationships. I'd like to bring up something I said earlier in the video. I was 14 when he called my persona at the time a ripoff Bredrawz. It sends a chill down my spine that even though I wasn't Bree, and I clearly wasn't as affected as much as other people were, that he involved a 14-year-old into his growing attraction with a 17/16-year-old. After Bree had cut contact with Castor, it almost made his obsession worse, saying that he wanted to go to Bree's state to work with her grandpa just to get closer to her. He would also say that he loved to judge, and the craziest thing was that he involved Bree in their relationship. Well, not actually, but he would mention Bree consistently during their relationship, saying that how he and Judge could go live together. But the twist is, it was in the same state as Bree. Can we not, please? Might as well mention that he also basically threw dollar bills at Bree as well, and Castor would get with the Judge after this to allegedly cope. Even while in an actual relationship with someone who actually did like him, he would not stop talking about Bree. He also had some master plan about befriending Bree's friends to get back at Bree. Might as well mention now that Bree and Junie were friends, and I feel like Castor was trying to sandwich himself between these two teenagers, which you have an actual girlfriend. Go focus on her instead of these minors. Judge said of how Castor would really only pay attention to her was when she was about to leave, and guess what he did? Throw gifts and money at her. He basically kept on roping Judge back in and make Judge do some not very appropriate things, I can assume. From what I can tell, Castor, when not giving attention and things he so desperately wanted from Judge, would pout, say he's done for the night, etc., just to make Judge feel bad on purpose. He'd even go for Judge's weight, saying of how she'd be skinny when with him, which I don't get since Judge seems happy in her body the way it is. Then Judge reveals some Facebook messages that Castor had sent to her, which I'll show you.
Broke me more than anyone else. It's because I was so close to you. You were so close to me. I told you everything. And we were so close together, and you just dip out of my life just like that.
And then that's how Judge's first video ends. That's right, that was just the first video and we're already 20 minutes in. So, if you guys need, please take a break before we continue on. The second video that Judge has made starts with Judge revealing the fact that she's actually been getting basically stalked by Castor. Castor has also been getting worse. I feel bad for Judge since he knows all of her socials along with personal numbers, and the block button can only do so much. We are introduced to this wonderful email sent by Castor himself. I still love you. I'm not obsessed with you because if I was, I would have been trying to contact you every day. I do love you as in. I always think about you in my mind. Look, I'm not the same person that I was last month. I know that the things I did were wrong, and I have apologized. And I know I'm not a predator because I've never interested in them. I'm a stupid person. I do stupid things without realizing how bad it is. I mean, I warned you before we dated that I'm a stupid guy. I do stupid things without realizing, and I mean, oh my god, I have told you stories when I was young, stupid stuff. I do. Don't be surprised when one day I come back and I change for the better. Oh my god. And you're right, pedophiles are always going to be pedophiles. It's that they're never going to change. And I totally agree with you on that. But I'm not a predator. You guys automatically assume my intentions when it came to the gifts. Oh, holy. But I know the stuff I said were completely wrong. I just hope you remember the good things between you and me when we were together, and I think you should look back on our conversations, especially if you search up fat in our DM to see I never called you fat. I apologize. I'm not a horrible person you think I am, but if I was, I would have doxed you long ago. Some redacted text, which I never will because that's just awful. Remember, I'll always protect you. I would never hurt you. Yeah, I got mad in the live stream where you were calling me. That's because I thought you were going to dox me because you had my resume. Then when I panicked, I tell the truth. But I'm in peace now. I love you so much, and I'm happy that someone loves you. I'm really happy that someone cares about you. You're happy, I'm happy. I'm letting you go, but you're always going to be in the back of my mind because I think about you subconscious. I hang up on you when I hear your voice because I don't want to be hurt again emotionally. There's some more I have to say, but I don't want to because this is getting too long than it should be. I'm joining the Navy. I'd rather die known as someone who sacrificed himself to save others, because when I say I don't want to live like this, to be known as a predator, I'd rather die to be known as the guy who sacrificed himself for others. Holy, his grammar sucks. I apologize for laughing. Anyhow, he claims that he never liked people under 18, but that's a lie based on his own Discord messages. How he said he was both in love with Bredrawz and Lay, who, guess what, are both minors. He also said that he's joining the Navy, which, like Judge said, I also highly doubt, because it's been proven over and over again that he lies again and again. In a manipulation competition, he'd win no doubt. I know people who are personally in the military, and they usually aren't doing it for praise like he is. The livestream that is mentioned, it's basically Judge had started a live stream after seeing that Castor was live streaming as well, where Castor was repeating over and over again how he was innocent. Castor would also make himself throw up on live, which is ridiculous. Him throwing up is him trying to get petty of how, "Oh, I've changed. My past actions make me sick." But if your past actions truly made you sick for you to have thrown up, then you would have stopped at the first minor, or the second, or the third. But you didn't. He hasn't and won't ever reflect or truly regret what he's done. He only regrets it because he was caught, because the people who he has hurt spoke out and were heard. But on the live stream, Judge, as well as Lay and other people called and trolled Castor, which I admit was kind of funny, because he was crying and acting like the victim the whole time. Remember in the email how he said he was scared of getting doxxed? Well, apparently, he sent his resume to a minor, which was Lay. But Lay had decided to go and cover all of Castor's private information on the resume, so he wouldn't have been doxxed. I understand being scared of getting doxxed, but everything was blocked out, so that couldn't have happened. Unless Lay has, the resume fully uncensored, like all of Castor's private information at Lay's exposal, which I actually do think Castor had sent that to Lay, but Lay doesn't seem like the person, neither does Judge, to go and release all of Castor's private information. But you shouldn't even be sending your private information to a minor or anyone at all. But anyhow, back in the live stream, Lay had released some more images and DMs, such as this. This is Lay's persona, with something not very appropriate in their face. It might seem funny, I can agree, until you realize it's a 16-year-old's persona, a character that represents Lay. Judge mentioned of how that's Castor's Roblox user, like in the back, as you can see here, which you really shouldn't do that. And I'm assuming this was back then Castor and Lay were friends. But that's a 16-year-old. You should not be making any sexual content or basically about a 16-year-old, or anyone under, or even a 17-year-old, because no. If you didn't know, but on Discord you can edit your messages so that a text can change on all devices. So guess what Castor had done? Change his messages so he could try to talk to Judge again. Apparently Judge had closed her DMs with Castor but reopened them to show her friends something only to see these. Judge, I'm not a predator. I feel sick. Ever since the incident happened, I have changed a lot. I am very loyal to you, as I would never cheat on you, and I hope one day you'll understand me. That's the way I grew up and how I was taught. I love you forever until I die. Remember the promise I made when you tried to break up with me on TikTok? Well, I'm keeping that promise. I'll always wait for you. I will not interfere with your love life, but I will always love you forever in my heart. But Judge, I will protect you. And that dream you had about me isn't real. It's just a dream. The real me will protect you. Once again, I come back. I will do a live stream and tell everyone about the incident and the mistakes I have done. Again, I'm sorry that I hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt anyone and you. I am very sorry. And I know this will never happen again. Love you forever. Good night. Bless you. And then here's the second message. I wish you'd understand me. The only person I have eyes for is you. I love you so much. Good night. I love you so much, Judge. You have no idea how much I love you. And I'd like to add in this section of how he tried to find NSFW of Judge's persona, since I have no clue where else this would fit. Just like what Judge did, I'll be exposing all of Castor's users, so that people will be aware of who he is and stay away from him. On Discord, he goes by UGC. On Roblox, it's HoboGodGG. I think that's how you say it. And on other socials, it's Castor, Castor-Angel, United Man, and Kristen Castor. Many people on the internet don't deserve to have a platform. Castor's one of them. He's a bug that won't die after stomping on it. He needs to be gone and stay gone. This video is to spread awareness since I've dealt with him before and I haven't noticed of how out of hand it was until I saw Jujs' videos on it. I wish nothing else but the best for Judge, Lay, Bree, Junie, and anyone else who has dealt with Castor. Stay safe, and goodbye, my bats.